and welcome to the Tech Gig podcast. I'm your host Sukriti, and today I'm here with an interesting conversation that covers dark. Dark is said to be as powerful as the internet was in its childhood days. During the 90s, most of the major companies neglected the revolutionary potential of the internet. Only visionary leaders invested their time, effort, and money in implementing ideas with the internet, enjoying the fruits now. DARK is an acronym for all the coming future realities. For example, distributed ledger technologies, artificial intelligence, extended reality, and quantum computing. Industries are looking beyond their digital transformation and finding out solutions about how they can shape the coming time ahead with post transformation dark technology. It is a crucial technology that will decide the future of industries and individuals. This podcast conversation delves on the advent of dark implications, how it applies to disruptions, and more importantly, how it will shape the future vis-a-vis business with Piyush Jha, Senior Vice President, Engineering at GlobalLogic India. As the Chief of Technology and Strategy, he's responsible for leading India technology and digital solutions and broadening the APAC growth for the organization. Welcome to the show, Piyush.
Hi, Ritik. Thanks for getting me on, and thanks for setting up such a great discussion on a topic that is very close to us in terms of the work that we do.
Thanks for being here, Piyush, and I'm really looking forward to some great insights about dark and how it's going to be contemporarily used by almost all the organizations in the coming time. So let's get started with the questions. So tell me, in today's time, dark is seen as the key that will open unimagined new pathways into the future. What, according to you, is the role of dark in accelerating digital transformation today?
I'll start with an example. We were in a conclave last couple of days, and one of my senior architects told me that he doesn't really write the articles that I read from him, but he artificially generates that and does only the last 10% of the editing for those articles. And I really enjoyed those articles that I read, and I was like, wow. And is it really happening? Am I reading and enjoying something that is not written by a human but written by a machine? So that starts to talk about what kind of disruption this set of technologies is already bringing to the table. Leave aside will bring to the table, but is already bringing in the lives that exist around us. Starting with distributed ledgers, blockchains, the disruption that we're already seeing with blockchains already in place, to extremely novel implementations of artificial intelligence, the role that the set of these two technologies bring about in the healthcare industry, for example, in getting us new vaccines or new cures for healthcare hazards that we did not have any answers to the power of quantum, because a lot of stuff that machine learning already had on the table was not realized or was not able to get realized because of the heavy duty computing that it needed. And we needed to solve problems block by block or one by one, because these technologies needed the amount of data that we needed to churn and needed to process were not possible by the technologies that we had and the machines that we had. And come quantum, it really disrupted the whole thing. So this combined set of technologies is not just going to paint a new world in front of us, but possibly invent a new world in front of us, something that we did not really imagine before.
Interesting. So, can you highlight how organizations are adopting dark technology in India versus global for business transformation?
I think this has tremendous opportunities for India to start leapfrogging ahead of a lot of other countries, and gain a real first citizen advantage in front of the entire world. We have been known for doing a lot of disruption. We have been known for being the front end of the IT for a long time, with quite a few startups starting from Flipkart and Mantra and others, driving the retail disruption a few years ago in India. We also have started having our own foothold in the startup space. Goes unsaid, a lot of these dark technologies are being invented upon and being utilized pretty heavily in India. So, I feel India doesn't only have a role to play in coming out with a lot of innovations around these dark technologies, but also starting to do a lot of applications around the dark area. The the lack of digitization in some areas, like real estate, for example, in India, holds us back a bit, or might hold us back a bit. But if you look at the other sectors like e-commerce, or like healthcare, or like industrial in India, that's almost digitized. Almost all the data that exists on the machine, and we can easily apply dark concepts to those data elements that we have. So, from what we see uh, already happening in the industry, and from the discussions that I've been having with my colleagues on NASCOM and Economic Times Leadership Council, and others, it seems like these are the heydays of technology for India, and it is extremely good and extremely relevant for us that we play in a block of technologies that drives innovation. uh, we understand innovation as it stands for itself, and I think we are a first citizen in this race.
Lovely. So, new age technologies like distributed ledger and quantum computing have been in the talks for quite some time now. But lately, the momentum in India has just begun to gain the steam. Can you talk about its true potential and its implications to transform businesses? Also, please share some interesting use cases if you can.
One of the prime ones that comes to mind is benefits in healthcare, because India is a leading healthcare provider for a lot of the world. India is also a leading, for example, vaccine provider to the world, and comes to mind because of the COVID scenario that we currently have. And the innovation around new medication, new vaccines, new cures to drugs that we don't have cures for, becomes extremely becomes far easier with utilization of technologies like distributed ledger and quantum computing, because quantum would help help amp up the pace that DL intends to work on, right? So that is a pretty interesting area where we could possibly experiment, re-experiment, play with a lot of imaginary data that we have, play with a lot of real data that we have, and data on patients is available in real bulks in India. So that is an area where it's very interesting to be utilizing dark in India. The other area that again is pretty interesting is in detecting counterfeit currencies, or in detecting any loopholes in transactions, because a lot of stuff doesn't go digital in India because people fear that the data that is digital may not really be secure. What they are seeing as a document in the digital world may not be an actual document. It might be a counterfeit, right? That problem goes away with our start to use digital ledger technologies here, and our application of quantum on top of these technologies. You could rest assured that all that data is actually real. It cannot be fuzzed, and it's coming from uh, people who can be trusted. So that is another extremely important area where we could do with these set of technologies. The third thing that comes to mind, and that comes to mind each day when we go to offices and get stuck in jams in places like Bangalore and others, is how could we do a real life application of DL technologies and add quantum to it, and start using it for traffic management, or start using it for traffic routing, or predicting what will be the bad traffic hours very accurately, and help people. That is another area that the world is utilizing DL for, and we can easily get that into motion. There are other areas around, blood care, so that you know what is the source of blood that you are receiving, and we are working with a couple of customers that will innovate or disrupt this area, so that you have a clear idea of where the blood that a patient is receiving is coming from. So I think there are quite a few very interesting areas where the Indian problems or problems that bother Indians on a day-to-day basis can be solved utilizing this set of technologies. And I feel that we are almost at the cusp of breaking out of it. This pandemic helped us break out our mold on a couple of other technologies like AI and IoT. So if you look at your deliveries today, we started tottering a bit at the start of COVID, but these deliveries are extremely punctual now. All these logistic problems have been easily solved with the technologies applied to them. I feel similarly, we are at the real cusp of breaking out, breaking free of the innovation that is already happening. And these technologies will see the light of the day if they've not already started seeing, maybe in the next 12 to 24 months.
Okay, thank you for that. While social mobile analytics and cloud convergence was the foundation of the digital age, the post digital age is dark. Please share your thoughts on how dark is going to shape the future.
So here, we may start to sound elitist, right? Because if you really try and imagine the 1990s, Smack was a dream. It was a dream to be able to connect with people on an application like Facebook. You could really stay in a virtual connected ecosystem with everybody. Mobility as we use it today was really a dream. I never imagined, like, even 3 years ago, that we will be walking to shop without a wallet, because Paytm would do it all for you. So this set of technologies has brought about a tremendous revolution to the manner in which we deal with things and people, and interact with things around us. Uh, that said, uh, a lot of it, at least today, sounds like plausible. It sounds like, these technologies are things that we understand and we can start relating to. If you talk about being able to trace where the apple you're eating is coming from, and what kind of ingredients or proteins or stuff like that it contains, and that being accessible to you really at the click of a button. These are things that are still tough to imagine for a layman. Things like blockchain, and the impact it is bringing to the financial world is still difficult to comprehend, because many people don't even understand what a Bitcoin is today. So I think we are at a place where we'll be utilizing a lot of data to make the artificial things appear as real as possible, make them more secure, hopefully, because these technologies come with their own security loopholes also. But if we park that aside for a minute, hopefully it will make the artificial world appear as real as possible, and will be able to enjoy the benefits of this set of technologies, with them appearing and sounding real. The Imagine a mall, right? If you walk into a mall today, a mall has different stores. All those stores have a lot of people walking into them, shopping, transacting. To a technologist like me, all of that is data. There is a lot of data everywhere. That data can give us a lot of insights and inputs about how people will understand, behave, talk, think, and do a lot of fun stuff. If we were able to put that data into real action, we could make the shopping experiences of people, exceptionally delightful. They already are delightful, but we could add a lot of flavor to it. On similar lines, we are working on an app today that acts upon data on tens of different social media channels, and will be able to predict if people are planning a riot somewhere or people are planning an unrest somewhere, and alert the police that hey, there's a zone where there might be a conflict tomorrow. Why not deploy more police there already, because there is something flowing up on social media. So it grants us applications that we cannot yet imagine today. And I think the post-digital age, like you're calling it, or like we try to name it, is something that will utilize a lot of these technologies and make a lot of concepts that we don't understand as they would be.
All right. So, Piyush, we spoke about all these impacts that DARQ is going to make on business and organizations. Help me understand how, according to you, will DARQ play a role in transforming an employee's career or professional growth?
I think the impact that these technologies are going to set in motion in the real world pales in comparison to the impact that the tech sector employees will face. And I would take a couple of examples. One of the examples would be that almost all of automation will be done by bots in days to come. Almost all of documentation can technically be done by bots, because they would read your code and do the documentation on top of it. Even further, I would dare say that almost all of coding will be done by bots, because they are just structures, and if you tell the bot in simple English on what is the expected outcome from a particular technology, the code can almost be auto-generated. It'll be better code. It'll be more structured because the machine has written it. It'll have lesser errors because the machine has put in all the checks and balances. And utilizing quantum, you can easily put in more checks and balances than you can imagine a human brain to do. So where does the life of a programmer go, or what do we do? And if you think really deeply about it, the programmers are here to stay, but they would be encouraged to solve real problems. They would be encouraged to solve business problems. They would be encouraged to kind of innovate the technology that is solving these problems, rather than writing commonsensical code. So a lot of we can't call it menial already, because we have intelligent people doing a lot of it, but a lot of simpler variants of the technology that is being written today by programmers, or the testing that is being done today by programmers sitting on their machines will go away. There is no turning away from that. It may be 2 years, it may be 5, it may possibly be 7 or 8 years, but this is about to go away. And we have heard being quoted in a lot of different forums that the kids of today, the skills that they need to learn are more basic as compared to programming languages that they would really be learning. So whoever is teaching these kids coding at the ages of 5 or 6 or 10 is possibly doing a disservice to them rather than service to them, because they will get redundant. The programming languages will get redundant. It will be replaced by possibly algorithmic knowledge, possibly skills to do faster, sharper, better algorithms, possibly skills to solve business problems that are not their realm, because they are doing coding. So I think there will be a new kind of jobs that will come on the horizon. These jobs will be extremely different from the jobs that we see today. Innovation, emotional understanding, EQ, being able to solve business problems, being able to put in new applications to how you do things otherwise, will all be extremely sought after. But mundane coding, mundane automation, mundane testing will go away, because there are machines that are willing to take their jobs. And we have already started introducing machines into doing the work that we do, and we have quite a few bot citizens in our company who have started to do this work.
Fantastic. You've made some interesting points, Piyush, especially that part where kids are being taught coding. So thank you for sharing those with us. I think our audience will have an amazing time knowing what DARQ is and how it's going to impact the business as well as their professional growth. Listeners, I hope this conversation was useful to you. Thank you for listening. I'll be back with another episode super soon. Till then, stay safe and stay tuned to TechGeek for all the latest updates.
Thank you. It was an extremely good experience for me to come talk about this stuff. It is pretty humbling the way the world is going, ahead today. And my appeal and recommendation to everybody would be that the more value that we create, the more we add to the tech ecosystem, not just globally but also for India. Thank you.
Thanks, Piyush.